Hello, Marvelous Legends. It's time for a top 10. Let's do it! I'm going to do something a bit outside the box. This is the top 10 good guys gone bad. This is like Rihanna, good girl gone bad. This was inspired by my Black Ant figure. I was like, wait, it says Ant-Man on the box, but I thought it was Black Ant. I thought he was a villain. Who? What? Huh? I love a good guy gone bad, fallen from grace type story. So let's do it. Coming in at number 10, not that these are like ordered in best, but let's just order them anyway because I like numbers and numerical things. So number 10 is, waha, the Sandman, Flint Marko. This was a really interesting character. I love when characters change and evolve. Sandman, of course, was a villain, but then he reformed and he joined Silver Sable's Wild Pack. So Sandman, Paladin, and a whole bunch of others became mercenaries, and Sandman was pardoned by the president. He joined the Avengers. He was a good guy. And then a writer just decided he's going to be bad again, and fans were not happy about that, understandably. So they kind of retconned this story where the wizard used mind control to make him evil again. It was a bit dubious. Sandman went on to have some really interesting stories though, because of that, like, mind control kind of messed him up. His personalities started to split. He ended up sort of being scattered across this beach and reconstituted into like a sweet innocent girl, which was like his innocence, and like a really disgusting sand monster was his evil side, and it was a really cool story. I love the Sandman arc. At the moment, he's still kind of villainous, and even though people loved, or they liked, the heroic Sandman, it's the villain who everyone remembers. Number 10. Now, I might be a little tenuous with some of these because it's difficult to think of, good guys gone bad. But we have Marvel's blue-eyed, bouncing Mrs. McCoy's baby boy, the Beast. And I know what you're thinking. He's still a good guy. He hasn't gone bad. Well, technically no, but in the Age of Apocalypse, he is as bad as they come. And what I love about the Age of Apocalypse, Dark Beast, is that there's no particular reason for him being evil. It's not like, oh, in the Age of Apocalypse, Apocalypse killed his parents and he went mad or anything. No, it's just he's a bad guy in the Age of Apocalypse. Like, almost like the Blue Beast has the potential to be bad, but he just kind of chooses not to be. Whereas in the Age of Apocalypse, he's like, nah, I'm gonna be a crazy person. So, number 8 now. See, I'm trying to go rapid fire because I linger on too long sometimes. I want this to be a nice, fast, brisk video. So we got Sandman, we got Beast, and now this is a bit of a dubious one, alright? But we have the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. Now then, of course, Bucky Barnes is a hero, a consummate hero now, but for a short time, he was very much portrayed as a villain, a Captain America villain. What happened? Of course, you guys know this, and I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. He was Captain America's sidekick. He was presumed dead in World War II, but he was turned into a Russian super soldier, and of course, mind control. If only mind control existed in the real world, we could account for so many of our mistakes. I'm sorry, baby, I've been mind controlled. What do you want? But eventually he broke his programming. But for a short time, Bucky Barnes was a good guy gone bad. So we'll pop him there. He's a little tricky to balance, that one. Next up, we have, going back to the X-Men, this is a real good guy gone bad story. Bishop. He's from the future. Yeah, Bishop was like, a staple of 90s X-Men. And then, now my X-Men knowledge gets a little spotty here, so you gotta bear with me. But we have the Messiah complex and the Messiah War, where basically Bishop is obsessed with protecting the future, making it safe for mutants, all that kind of thing. And there's this baby born who, might destroy the future. So Bishop's like, well, I'm a good guy, but I kinda have to kill this baby. And that's kind of a line in the sand for a lot of people, is baby killing. So Bishop goes after this child, and Cable is sort of tasked with protecting her. And while trying to kill them, he accidentally, it seems, killed Professor X. How many times has Professor X seemingly been killed? I lose interest in the X-Men, which is a shame because I loved them in the 90s. But still, he goes from being this Bishop to getting his arm severed, ripped off at the shoulder, and then actually in a very cool scene, he cauterizes the wound with sunfire. He uses an unconscious sunfire to cauterize his shoulder and then gets a metal arm. So that's pretty badass. But yeah, he goes on to be a real antagonist in the Cable series. Oh, there you go. There's Winter Soldier falling over. I know we're going to be a little bit stuck for space here, but I like having all the figures sort of on display like this. It's kind of fun, isn't it? So we have Sandman, Beast, Winter Soldier, and Bishop. But who's next? Now, of course, since I spoke about him originally, he was the impetus for this list. We have Eric O'Grady, Black Ant. Now, this is kind of, again, a little bit tenuous because this guy, was he ever really a hero? I did some reading to find out and sort of ease my confusion as to who or what this character is. So Eric O'Grady was a low-level SHIELD agent who found Hank Pym's gear and nicked it, basically. Hence the irredeemable Ant-Man. But he was one of those characters that always vowed to do good and then ultimately didn't. But eventually what happened was he was killed trying to save a child. So that's kind of like, oh, okay. The opposite of Bishop. You redeemed yourself there. So he was redeemable. Not completely irredeemable. But of course, he reappears and it's not him. It is a life model decoy. And this life model decoy is straight up a bad guy, okay? So rather than being, a weak person who's trying to do good, he's a straight up villain, and he becomes a mercenary, teams up with Taskmaster, is nefarious, duplicitous, double-crossing, and so much fun to read. So Black Ant goes in right there as a good guy gone bad. Now, moving swiftly on, we have the Black Cat, the modern Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. So, what happened with her? What's her deal? She was a good character. I know she was dating Spider-Man and all that. She was always kind of like on the periphery, just like Catwoman in Batman. You know, she was a thief, so she was always walking that line. What happened with this modern version in this costume? This was during the Superior Spider-Man arc when Dr. Octopus was in Peter Parker's body. So she doesn't know that. She sees Spider-Man, she's like, hey Spider, flirty flirt. And Doc Ock is like, you're a thief. Bam! Punches her in the face and knocks her out, and this just messes with her head. Understandably so. I mean, you can't blame the poor girl. You know, someone who she still has this love for and has a huge crush on and whatnot, and puts on a pedestal as being a good human being, punches her in the face, breaks her nose, and just messes her up. And after that, she kind of decides, can I stand her though? Whew. After that, she's like, you know what? I'm going back to my villainous ways. Screw this. So she goes full on villain to the point of becoming like a New York mob boss. She goes hardcore. It's a real fall from grace. But she has recently picked herself back up. But for a time, she was a good guy or a good girl gone bad. Full Rihanna. All right, now we have a real favorite of mine. A boy. One member of my boy stable here. The Sentry. I love this character. Such a crazy, conflicted, ridiculous story. Tragic, because he's a good person. Frank Reynolds wants to do good. He wants to be a hero. He has the power to be a hero. The power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. That's pretty powerful. But unfortunately, he has a split personality. He has the Void in him, which is his dark alter ego that he cannot really control. So he has this benevolent, kind, caring side, and he has this terrifying, like eldritch horror creature inside him with all of his power that just wants to destroy everything. So eventually, as a great tragic story goes, it gets the better of him, and in the siege, like, he's basically been Norman Osborn's lapdog, because being kind of weak-willed, he's not weak-willed, he's just so unsure of himself. He sees Osborn as like his kind of mentor father figure, and Osborn uses him as just his muscle, basically, which is so cool, to the point that Osborn can intimidate Victor Von Doom. I love the Dark Avengers, the Dark Reign story. I'm gonna move Sandman because you need to see you need to gaze upon my glorious visage. Yeah, so in Dark Reign, Norman Osborn basically runs the Marvel Universe, and instead of the Illuminati, he has the Cabal, which is made up of all the like A-list villains of the Marvel Universe. And basically, Norman sits at the head of the table with Doom, and he's like, "This is how it's gonna be." And Doom's like, "I don't think so, mate. Thank you." And Norman's like, "Well, if you have a problem with that, you can discuss it with my friend here." And it's like the Sentry with the void kind of coming out from him, and even Doom's like, "Okay, this isn't over, but I'm gonna just, step back for a minute." So yeah, the Sentry, Bob Reynolds, eventually flies himself into, no, he doesn't fly himself into the sun. Thor flies him into the sun, not as like a mean way of killing him, but just as like a mercy killing, to be like, "I gotta put you down, man, but can't keep a good guy down, he is back." How do you kill a guy with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns? We're gonna have to find out. Love Bob Reynolds. Now then, we have the top three. These actually are top three good guys gone bad. So coming in first, we have a character who I'm so sorry about how this story went, because we had a bad guy gone good. We had the Superior Spider-Man, and this was a great arc. Dr. Octopus takes over, the body of Peter Parker, but he has Peter Parker's memory, so he has his sense of responsibility, and he has the loving upbringing that Peter got, which gives him reason and cause to do good and understand that with great power comes great responsibility. That's a good bad guy gone good story. However, unfortunately, bad writing prevails sometimes. So he had a run-in with the Norman Osborn of a different Earth, who was like a Spider-Man. It was kind of cool. He was like an evil six-armed Spider-Man, Norman Osborn. And Osborn pushes him so far that he's like, "I'm in this unwinnable situation. Innocent lives are at stake. I can't think how to win this." And Mephisto, I hate mystical characters popping up in Spider-Man, but Mephisto shows up and he's like, "This is a plot device I can help with." And he's like, "I will put you back to your previous Doc Ock self, who is evil and cunning, and that guy can beat Norman Osborn, but you gotta sacrifice all this good stuff you've done to be this guy." The only caveat, the only sort of glimmer of hope, is that a lot of Doc's evil nature, psychoticness, can be attributed to the head injury he originally got when this accident happened. And Mephisto's like, "I'm gonna let you roll the dice. I'm gonna put you back to your old self without the brain damage. So we're gonna see if you actually are good or evil, if it was the head trauma, or if you're actually just a bad guy." And since that happened, we haven't seen, that's such a shame. I was really liking this little setup. But I'm gonna pause this and reset them, because I like what we've got going on here. And we're back. Okay guys, top two now. These are two good guys gone bad, and this one pains me. Oh god, this was a heartbreaker. Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider. Since 1996, I begged and pleaded and wished that Ben Reilly would be coming back, and I'm sure it must have been like a monkey's paw wish, because I got my wish, and when it happened, it was like, not like this. Not like this! Yeah, gosh, it was an awful story. The clone conspiracy. So basically, Ben Reilly has been cloned. To quote Red Dwarf, he's been copied more times than that picture of a tennis player scratching a butt. This is like the 21st version of Ben Reilly. The Jackal was trying to, I don't even know what he was trying to do, but basically he cloned Ben Reilly and then killed him, and then cloned him and killed him and cloned him and killed him and cloned him and killed him. I don't know what he was trying to discover. I can't remember. But unfortunately for poor old Ben, that's why are you torturing a character that I love so much? He remembered every death. And the Jackal was killing him in different ways every time. Can't remember what he was trying to discover. I'm not going to reread it because it's trash. But either way, like the 21st version that's died all these times manages to escape. And of course, he's bonkers now because he's been murdered 21 horrible times. So he tries to use his cloning facilities to bring back everyone who's ever died. Which is just such a stupid storyline. And in the end, he confronts Peter and he's like, "Look what I've done, isn't this amazing?" And Peter's like, "No, this is garbage. If this was a comic book, this would be stupid." Although one little touch I quite like is that Peter says, "Why didn't you resurrect Uncle Ben?" knowing that the reason he didn't was because he knows that Ben would not approve of what he's doing. Ultimately, Ben's plan is foiled, and he gets a solo series. I mean, gosh, a Ben Reilly solo series, that's like everything I dreamed of. It was trash, and the character was trash. It wasn't Ben Reilly. It was like, they tried to be like Deadpool type. Yeah, it was garbage. The character has subsequently been reset. They killed him off in Spider-Verse and then resurrected him again, but when he was resurrected, he was like, this is like a hard reset. Like, I'm back to normal now. And it's like, too little too late. And since then he's disappeared into the ether, so I don't know if we'll ever see him again. I hope so. I still want redemption for Ben Reilly, but time will tell. Alright, finally, number 1. I was trying to rush this and it's still nearly 20 minutes. The ultimate, for me, good guy gone bad is the Green Goblin. I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Dave, the Green Goblin is a bad guy. What are you talking about? He's a bad guy gone bad. Not this Green Goblin. I'm talking about Phil Urich, the Green Goblin from the late 90s. Phil Urich, nephew of Ben Urich, the Daily Bugle journalist, he finds Norman Osborn's stash of gear and becomes the Green Goblin, trying to be a superhero. Now, the problem is he's a teenage kid. He doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's trying his best, and it's a really fun story. I don't know if it's on Marvel Unlimited, but if it is, check it out. It's a fun 90s teenage kid trying to do good storyline. Unfortunately, his gear gets trashed, and without it, he can't be a superhero, and he's forgotten about in the comics for like 20 years. And then all of a sudden, up pops a brand new Hobgoblin. And this guy is every bit the villain. And guess who's under the mask? Phil Urich. Oh, I was so pleased about this. Talk about taking a deep dive from the 90s and bringing back an obscure character. And why the hell not? It's like people enjoyed the Green Goblin, but he wasn't like a hugely lauded, massive fan favorite character. So why not bring him back and do something with him? And there's no mind control. There's no, huge impetus, inciting incident that made him villainous. He was just a guy who, I guess, had life situations and life choices. He was like, no, screw this hero stuff. I'm gonna be a bad guy. And he was a real bad guy. He was a real menace to Spider-Man. Like, lofty ambitions, wanted to take over the underworld. This guy was really a cool character and a great good guy gone bad. No caveats, no tenuous links. I think this is a perfect example of what happens when a hero falls. And guys, that is my top 10 good guys gone bad. If you like this video, please click the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications as well. That's another thing I've had pointed out to me is, if you don't hit the notifications, you won't necessarily find out when there's a new video, and wouldn't that be tragic? So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep displaying model behavior. If you enjoyed this video, then I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and hit the like button. And if you really enjoyed this video and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the subscribe button and don't miss a single episode of Model Behavior.